Have you ever been worried that your pocket knife might accidentally open inside your pocket and cause a bit of an injury? Well, if that's the case, we've got the answer to that question and more on today's episode of Knife AQ number 191 of the series where I answer your questions sharp or dull. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter, and welcome to the Knife AQ. If you have a question that you think might be worthy of being included in a future episode, please drop them in the comments section below this video. That's where we pull our topics from for these videos. First question today comes from Aaron1540. Can you please make a video of knives that lock in the closed position? I need the safety feature and I'm looking for an everyday carry. Open to automatic, assisted, any action, honestly. M390, S90V, or something super steel preferred. Please help me find my knife. I got you. Actually, one thing I just thought of as we're filming this, and I don't have an example on the table, check out some of the Jack Wolf knives, the slip joints in particular. You can get those with S90V, and while they don't lock in the closed position, they're very strongly sprung towards the closed position. It's kind of the polar opposite of an assisted or an automatic knife action, but that could be an option for you too. But I'm gonna have some locking folders here for you. So locking closed, and you say just an everyday carry. So that could range for a lot of people, but an icon in that kind of ilk, that sort of genre, or that combination, I should say, would be the Kershaw Leak. In fact, we did a Beat the Icon video on this particular model. Now, the cool thing about the Leak is you can get it all the way from the entry-level Sandvik steels up to more premium stuff, like the MagnaCut blade on this particular option. Comes in about 130 bucks. 3-inch blade, perfect for most folks, for just average EDC uses, I would say. The MagnaCut is going to hold an edge very well. It's going to be nice and tough. And when you have a tip this thin, that's a good thing as well. And of course, it's rust resistant. There's uncoated versions of these as well, with the red and black gradient, as well as a blue and black gradient, if you don't want the coated blade option. It is an assisted opening action. And in fact, everything that I've got in front of me right now is going to have some form of spring involved in its deployment methodology and works consistently. And you've got the tip slider here at the back. And while it technically doesn't lock the blade in position, it does prevent it from being fired because of that small tab right there. Kind of a, like I said, a classic or an icon everyday carry knife, or iconic everyday carry knife that does hit those facets for you. The other knives I have here are a bit larger. Again, everyone's EDC is different, but they're a little bit on the larger side. And I am going to show some options here, not just with the premium steels that you're requesting, but for anyone out there who may be on more of a budget than you and can't afford some of those super steels, there are some options for you too. First, the Ontario Rat Model 1, the 1A, the assisted opening version here. Comes in about 60 bucks with an AUS 8 blade steel, 3.5 inches long, with a full flat grind. Fantastic working drop point and fantastic solid working handle as well. This is kind of, did we do a Beat the Icon on the Rat one? I can't even remember now.
I don't remember last week.
If we haven't, we should. I'm trying to remember, because this is an icon too, quite honestly. And this is the assisted opening version, which means it has this safety switch right here. Not all assisted opening knives have safety switches, but this one does. In the back position, it is not opening. Slip it forward. Red means go, as opposed to traffic lights. Don't go through a red light. And then you've got your assisted opening action right there. Now, some of these knives, I don't know whether it's the case in particular on this one. If you like what you see here and you like the safety, but you're not really keen on assisted opening, or yeah, we'll just stick with the assisteds here. It may be possible to de-assist some of these. If you take it apart, take out the assist springs, you're probably gonna be voiding your warranty in that sort of case, and there's no guarantees that will work well or not. This is a non-KnifeCenter sanctioned topic or point I'm making right here.
Basically, we won't assist you with that.
There you go. If you were to do something like that, proceed at your own risk and under your own volition, recognizance. I don't know. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but
Idiom.
What'd you call me?
You heard me.
Are you saying I'm like something else? Anyway, we're really getting off on a tangent here. So Aus-8, obviously not a super steel, but certainly capable stuff. The SOG AT series knives, the Flash AT, the Trident AT, the Aegis AT, any SOG knife that you see that has a crossbar lock in the AT suffix after the model name is going to be an assisted opening crossbar locking knife with a spine mounted safety right here. As you can see, as I'm trying to push it here, it doesn't work in the open position, so it's not going to block that crossbar lock from coming coming opened, but it will work in the closed position and will prevent that knife from opening. Flip the switch forward. The nice thing about that spine mounted location is it's ambidextrous, just like everything else on this knife. Ambidextrous clip, or reversible clip, ambidextrous lock, and thumb studs as well. D2 blade steel on this, about 3.5 inches again, just like the Ontario, although you get a little bit more sharpened edge on this one. I don't think that's 3.5. I think the rat's always been like 3.6, right? Yeah, this is like 3.625 essentially. We'll have to change our website to make sure that is reflected. And yeah, the Flash AT is like 3.375. It doesn't even match 3.45 on the website. Get those people up there to change it. Let's check, actually, I haven't checked to see if this switch on the rat will work in the open position. No, it will not. So it's not gonna prevent the liner lock from becoming disengaged, but again, locks it closed in your pocket just in case. But back to the Flash real quick. Moderately sized, or full-sized blade, I would say, but a really full-sized handle. That kind of is sort of, you see that on pretty much all the AT knives, if I'm remembering correctly. So you got plenty to hold on to right there. Keeping the assisted crossbar locking theme going, and now with a more premium steel, MagnaCut in this case, the Benchmade PSK, which stands for Personal Survival Kit, not Personal Survival Knife. Funnily enough, actually, kit is part of the name. $360 for this 3.4-inch MagnaCut blade. Not too thick, but a little bit on the thicker side. Saber height flat grind there, so it's a little more of it's got a little more mass behind the blade, a little more strength as opposed to better slicing of the rat or, of course, the leek as well. Handles are split G10, as you can see. Plenty of accommodation in the handle there. And this is one where, again, speaking in an unofficial capacity, I know folks, a lot of folks have de-assisted these Benchmade assisted opening, axis lock assisted opening knives with great success before, while still being able to maintain that spine mounted safety switch. And this is one that also works in the open position. And for folks who might worry about, the Omega springs in a crossbar lock breaking, you've got that extra peace of mind right there that'll keep the lock working even without those two springs. This is a really solid knife. Again, a little bit on the larger side, but not too big for EDC, I don't think. That could work really well. This next one I think is quite large and is maybe bigger than most folks would like. But if you like a bigger knife, you can't go wrong with the TR4. Now we're getting into true automatic openers right here. And there are plenty of automatics out there with safety switches, not just from ProTech. I think Hogue makes some. There are others as well. Benchmade, for example, makes some Axis automatics with the same type of spine safety switch right here. The Adamas comes to mind, as well as push button automatics. But here we go. We got the TR4, big 4-inch blade, $360 for this MagnaCut bladed auto. Plenty of handle length right there, as you can see. Safety switch to keep that button from firing the blade when it's in the closed position. And let me just see. Nope, doesn't work in the open position. That's not surprising. It's just a bonus if you find something that does that. Solid designs, the Tactical Response series from ProTech for sure. Next, we're going to get into some things that maybe are a little unconventional or not quite what you were thinking of when you asked the question, but these are also knives that stand pretty much no chance, everything has an asterisk, pretty much no chance of accidentally opening in your pocket. And they are autos as well. The SOGTAC AU, Auto, 150 bucks, D2 blade steel. I love this design, quite honestly. It's got a slim drop point blade, nice and thin with a full flat grind. This is not meant to be like an uber tactical, you know, super hard use, be able to pry stuff with it type of knife. This is an everyday carry slicer and is going to be more useful for more folks than, you know, that big tactical type of styling. And the aluminum handles are nice and thin to back that up. And the action here, it is a crossbar lock with automatic opening action, and there's no kind of secondary safety switch that you can see, but actually this crossbar lock here has multiple stages. If you push it forward, that actually further locks it into place. It's not gonna, let me do the half or the standard position. It's not gonna open in that position either, but maybe it's a little more likely that you might accidentally push that switch. But if you push it forward, it's basically extra locking. And you don't have to two-stage open it either. You don't have to like come to the half open, then, you know, pull it all the way for the automatic action to take over. You can simply grab it, give it a pull, and the blade is ready to go. That is an option. And then OTFs. Two ways you could go about it. You could go with a single action automatic, like this Hydra right here from Heretic Knives. This is a $520 knife. Comes with a MagnaCut blade, serrated in this case, but there are non-serrated options available. And this is, as I mentioned, a single action automatic. And to close the blade, you actually have to move this cover out of the way, push the button, whoops, then let go of the button. Now it's charged and it's ready to fire, but you've got that spring-loaded cover over the button, so that's, you know, you're not going to push. Something, you know, there's always a chance of something happening. Maybe that gets wedged open and the something pushes into the blade. Highly unlikely, but in the interest of full transparency or whatever you want to call it, it is technically possible. But the cool thing about a single action auto is the action. All of the spring tension is able to be focused in launching that blade. It's got quite the satisfying launch to that that blade right there. Very cool. Might be a little thick and chunky of a blade for general ADC, but hey, check it out. But also, apart from the single actions, any double action OTF is pretty much going to fit the bill. And that's because in this position, with the blade closed, the blade itself is not under spring tension at all. The way you fire a double action OTF is as you gradually push this switch forward, the pressure loads and ramps up until you get the spring all the way loaded and click it over that breakover point. Same thing in reverse. Like this is not, that is exceptionally unlikely to accidentally open in your pocket. Could be an option for you. And if you were to go like, to go that direction, my favorite, you know, EDC type OTFs out there. There's three of them. This is one, the Kershaw Live Wire, the Benchmade Shootout, and the Hogue Compound are my other two favorites. But this one right here is a very good price for an American-made OTF. Comes in a little over 200 bucks. This one right here is actually on sale for 200 bucks right now. It's a 50th anniversary edition of the Live Wire, 50th anniversary of Kershaw Knives right now. 3.3-inch MagnaCut blade, aluminum handles, matte disc and design. And the reason I like this and those other two OTFs I mentioned is the blades are thinner. They're not big, chunky, tactical things like you might find on this Heretic right here. They're a little more of what I think of as, you know, EDC suited. Take that as however you wish. You could certainly go any number of other directions in the OTF sphere. There's plenty of options. Check out our Microtech selection, for example. Huge amount of variety right there. But I really like these too. I think they slice really well. You can get it in the spear point or a Tonto, which is equally thin and even a higher grind, so that might slice a little better. There's a double edge too, but that's less of an EDC thing in my opinion. But anyway, I hope that helps. Next question. We're starting into our next segment, which is Damyr's Buried Treasure, where thanks to Damyr's question a number of episodes ago, we're working our way through the alphabet of brands that we sell and showing a brand we've never shown on the channel before, which after 6 years of doing this, there is still stuff we haven't shown because our selection is quite honestly ginormous out there. And you get 2 today, and that's because each of them are in packages that I couldn't easily open, and we didn't want to take one out of stock just for the video. The first is Jaccard. We are in the letter J right now, as you could imagine. 16 bucks. This is the pigtail flipper. It's basically a grill hook for flipping meats on the grill. Pretty simple concept. I don't think I need to go further into it than that. Wood handle, metal shaft and hook. There you go. That's very cool. There's 2 sizes, a 19-inch and a 12-inch that you can get. You can get them in a 2-pack too. And then JJ's, as in Jameson Woodworks, the JJ's knife kit. We've shown some of the Spyderco versions of these essentially. We didn't do a wood one, did we? We did the glow-in-the-dark one a while back.
I told you, I don't remember last week.
This was a while ago too. These are basically small wooden knife kits that you can build. It's a great gift for youngsters. It's a great training tool for youngsters as well. If you're seeing if they're ready for their first real knife, they come in about 12 bucks. There's a lock back right here. There's a, what do we got? A double-bladed trapper and a, what is it? The original wooden pocket knife kit. It's kind of a, it looks, I'm trying to describe this handle right here. Thomas, you'll have to put a picture up here so that people know whether I'm full of it or not. It's a clip point blade and a slip joint type of construction. I don't know if I call that a canoe or not. Not really a canoe shaped body. Anyway.
Kayak?
Sure. We'll go with kayak. So that's the letter J for today. Never before seen on the channel. I think that just goes to show that I do actually show most of the stuff. I try to show a lot of stuff we do actually carry. When things like this that, you know, there aren't any other knife brands that we haven't really shown under the J. And this is something that, you know, given the knife focus of this channel, doesn't often get a chance to shine. So here you go. All right, now we're into our measured once, cut twice segment, where we take a second slice at a previous question. And this one, I'm highlighting your comments from our Beat the Icon video on the Elementum we did earlier this week. A few of you made some good suggestions, or at least some ones I wanted to respond to, as to some other possible alternatives to the CIVIVI Elementum. Unknown Artist 47, the Ferrum Forge Gent would be my choice. That is a really astute one, and the Gent is honestly a knife I forget about sometimes. And on its initial release, the more premium versions of this actually made quite a splash back in the day. But the current Gents are coming in, regular price on these is about 75 bucks. We've got this on sale at the moment for about 60. So that's within shouting distance of the Elementum. It's a little bit more expensive. Materials are kind of similar there. You've got G10 for the most part on the base range of the Elementums, which are around 50 bucks. You got G10 right here. We do have a stainless steel blade instead of D2. This is 9CR18 MOV. So roughly you're, kind of equivalent to 440C right there. I don't know for sure who makes these Ferrum Forge knives, but they look for all the world like CIVIVI is making them, quite honestly. So it's the same type of construction right there, the same type of fit and finish. You've got a flat grind instead of a hollow grind. Similar profiles though, overall. I think it occupies a bit of the same space for sure. A little bit more expensive though. Next one comes from Colin Puffett. No Cubit, really? Surely that's one of the closest competitors, despite coming from the same company. Sure, that's not a bad one either. The CIVIVI Cubit is coming in about $66.90. It's about, I give you an exact number for an about right there, which is maybe more comparable to the button lock Elementum, which is about 65 bucks. But hey, that's a very appropriate and close comparison between the two then, isn't it? But both knives have a 3-inch blade, which was a requirement in that Beat the Icon video. They've got that neutral, almost teardroppy handle. Elementum's more teardroppy, but that neutral type of handle shape. More handle length, honestly, on the Cubit. Just more to hold on to, which is quite nice. I mean, you can see that's a stark difference between those two for sure. Also, flat ground on the Cubit, but very thinner blade stock than the Elementum, which is pretty cool. Reversible pocket clip, which the button lock Elementum doesn't have, because that's a very lefty-friendly lock type to use, so that's a nice thing to see. And the CIVIVI versions of this have a bottle opener here at the spine when in the closed position, which is kind of cool. like the Elementum, the Cubit has also seen a premium knife version enter that lineup with, I believe, 20 CV and titanium. That version lacks the bottle opener, however. That's a good comparison. I dig it. And lastly, from the other Joe DiMaggio, QSP Penguin, DCA. I can't believe you didn't include the universally recommended QSP Penguin. It's been my go-to recommendation for people pretty much since its release. Non-intimidating, easy to use, feels great in the hand, great budget, D2 steel or 14C28 options, and a perfect size and shape for EDC. I would say, one, yes, I think it's a good alternative to the Wharncliffe bladed Elementum. They definitely have a lot going for them in similarities wise. You can get a D2 Penguin for just over 30 bucks still these days, so it's a true performance bargain. However, the thing that made the Elementum famous was not the Wharncliffe bladed version, it was that just kind of generic drop point shape. So that's what a lot of the competition in that video was focused on, which is why I didn't bring up the Penguin. The other thing with the Penguin, I did put a hard 3-inch blade length limit, just like the Elementum has on that video, which is why this at like 3.06 doesn't quite make the mark. Good suggestion though, however, but that 3-inch blade length limit, even if I were including alternatives to the Wharncliffe, would have ixnated out, which is why I didn't include the CGRB Pyrite either. That was addressed early on in that video, and yet I still had some folks complaining that I didn't include it. Very sorry. Well, now we come to our lightning round for today. Only one question in the lightning round today, which comes from RX01. On the USA-made Kershaw knives, why is the American flag backwards? This is one of those that truly could fall into the most frequently asked questions. This one comes up often enough. It's actually not backwards. It may appear to be the way most folks are used to seeing the field of stars in the top left, but just like in military uniforms, it's on the top right because it is streaming backwards as you are moving forwards, as you're going towards the enemy. Like what? Let me make Thomas follow this.
We don't retreat.
We don't retreat. But like, yeah, as you're moving forward, the flag is flowing behind you. So it's not actually flying backwards, or it's not incorrect that it's flying backwards. We'll put it that way. Well, now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from Kilt, Camera, and Carrie. Soup question. It's soup season. I'm so happy. What knife would you use to create a fantastic bowl of French onion soup? Here we go. I have just the things here right beside me. I'm going to take you through the recipe. In fact, you're going to need multiple knives and some not knife things too. We got to start with the vessel. A lot of folks like, a soup crock. I like this shaving mug right here. Why? Because we had it on the shelf and it was made in France, and it works for this this question. But the ingredients list here, you got just basically two. You got French and onion, right? So for the French, we got to go with this right here. I'm going to set this to the side. We got a spoon here, which will come in handy later. This, let me get the name right, is the TB Outdoor Barodur multifunction folding camp knife. And the multifunction is key because with the multiple implements here, you're getting multiple ingredients, and that's going to add a more complex base to your soup right there. So that's the first thing you want. And then onion, you might think, hey, we've got a Ken Onion Design Kershaw leek here on the table. No, you don't want to use leeks in French onion soup. What you want to use, however, or a cool suggestion, if you ever, you're not sure about a recipe and you want to just amp it up a little bit, instead of onions, use a scallion. And it's important when you're selecting your scallions to make sure the layers are nice and even, there's not a lot of spoilage or any kind of, off bits or irregularities in the layers of your scallion. Nice, even layers in the pot. There we go. Next up, what do we need? Well, actually, let me back up a second. This is your basic base right here. If you want to take it up another step, this is kind of a very humble version of your French onion soup. If you want a more refined taste, more of a fine dining French onion soup, instead of the TB Outdoor, you could go with a La Guiole. And this Laguiole wine opener right here is a multi-tool, so you get that layers of flavor going on. And also a little bit of lime, or a little bit of wine goes a long way in any soup. So that's a good option too. Next, we need the crouton. Nice French bread here. That's your open-O. There you go. That's in. And finally, Thomas is getting so tired of me right now. You need cheese, right? And there's there's no universally correct answer for cheese. I know some folks like Gruyere. Swiss is also a oft used ingredient in this, and you want to make sure you've got good coverage. So the Swiss Champ XXL is what you're going to need. Let that get nice and melty and dig in with your spoon. There you go. French onion soup. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Well, that's all we've got for today, folks. Let me know what you thought of the answers. If you got any alternate suggestions for our folks, leave it in the comments below. And of course, as always, if you have a question and you want to have it get a chance at being featured in a future episode, drop it in the comments below. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, make sure to follow the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com, where in addition to our new Sezzle payment options for those interested, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program so you can earn some free money towards a future purchase. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. Happy soup season, everyone. See you next time.
Decent amount of iron in that soup.
Yeah, it's good.